It's been 16 days since the Supreme Court ordered the White House to facilitate the return of Kemal Alberto Garcia, the man the government mistakenly deported to El Salvador. But in a new interview published yesterday by Time magazine, President Trump was asked if he's going to do anything to bring Alberto Garcia back like the Supreme Court ordered him to do. He replied, quote, "I leave that to my lawyers. I give them no instructions. They feel that the order said something very much different from what you're saying." Sounds like a no. Since sending more than 200 migrants to the notorious Sicat prison in El Salvador, Trump has said that, quote, "homegrowns are next." By that, he means American citizens, and it appears he's continuing to push this issue to see how far he can go.
We also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that.
Now, during his Time magazine interview, the president was asked again if he really intends to send American citizens to foreign prisons. To that, he replied, quote, "I would love to do that if it were permissible by law. We're looking into that." U.S.-born and naturalized citizens, as well as lawfully permitted immigrants, have already been ensnared in Trump's immigration crackdown. That includes children and toddlers as young as 2 years old. Yesterday, a federal judge in Louisiana said that a 2-year-old child, an American citizen, appears to have been deported with her mother and sister to Honduras with no due process. The judge scheduled a hearing for next month, quote, "in the interest of dispelling our strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful process." This is a very serious accusation. Lawyers for the government say the child's mother wished to take her with her to Honduras, but the judge says the court does not know that, and it appears that this deportation of a 2-year-old American citizen is not an isolated incident. The ACLU of Louisiana is also calling attention to at least 2 other American citizens who are children that were deported this week, a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, one of whom has a rare form of metastatic cancer. Joining me now is Alana Odoms, Executive Director of the ACLU of Louisiana, and Ray Suarez, host of the podcast Going for Broke and author of several books, including How We Are Home, Becoming American in the 21st Century, and Oral History. Alana, thank you for being with us. Tell us about the detainment of these children and these families. One child, as I just mentioned, is a cancer patient. One of the women is currently pregnant. They've been deported and cut off from their doctors, their medication, their health care. What kind of due process, if any, did they receive before they were deported?
Thank you for having me. So deportation, Donald, is not allowing any due process for families in the state of Louisiana or anywhere else in this nation. So I just want to share that families in Louisiana are being disappeared. Family A consisted of a pregnant mother with her 2 children, the youngest, who was 2 years old, who was an American citizen. They went into wellness checks, their regular check-ins with ICE. They were told that they would have access to counsel, that they would be able to make provisions for their minor children, and in fact, that was a ruse. They were not permitted to have access to their counsel. They were not permitted to make any kind of provisions for their children. And in a separate instance, another family experienced the same situation, went in, a mother with 2 young children, the youngest of whom you mentioned has metastatic kidney cancer, was told that they would be able to have their attorney. In fact, their attorney, Aaron Hebert, was with them. They were sequestered from their attorneys, were not permitted to have the opportunity to be advised by their attorneys. And in fact, those families were taken in at those regular wellness checks. And importantly, they were disappeared. Louisiana is one of the only states in the country that has an airport attached to the staging facility in Alexandria. So we believe, although we do not have direct knowledge, because the government would not provide that to the attorneys, that these families were sequestered, were abducted, and were driven to Alexandria in the dead of night and put on planes at 6 a.m. in the morning, completely stripped of their due process, completely stripped of their rights, and frankly, were not able to make provisions for their children, which is directly against the regulations of ICE itself. They had guardians who were able to take custody of those children. And in fact, if those mothers had been given the opportunity to speak with their counsel, there could have been many other arrangements that were made, including there was a habeas application pending for Family A, which was not, of course, addressed because of the deportations and disappearances that took place.
Ray, Alana has just talked about the legal violations here that may have occurred. And the administration is not necessarily clear to what degree this is overtly purposeful or administrative in terms of mistakes. But one thing that does seem to be very, very apparent is a lack of remorse or even humanity that exists around how these things are being handled. Is that just in our imagination, or is that a real thing in terms of the administration essentially throwing its hands up and saying, yes, we did it. It may or may not have been a mistake. What are you going to do about it?
Yes, we did it, and we owe you no explanation. We owe you no revelation of the logic that we used or the points in the law that we used to effectuate this deportation. They are testing us. They are testing what the public will tolerate. They are testing the waters, not only in day-to-day enforcement questions, but in long-standing legal principles, challenging, for instance, birthright citizenship and the rights that come along with it. When you send a 2-year-old out of the country who is an American citizen, and in connection with that deportation, feel that you don't have to answer any questions from the public about how and why you did it, this is a test, and it remains to be seen whether we're going to pass or fail.
Alana, we've been talking a lot today, and you mentioned it already, this notion of due process and the courts being somewhat unclear about the degree of due process that is afforded to people who are here on visas, people who are undocumented immigrants. How soon do you think that the Supreme Court may settle this question? And do you have any thoughts about where they may fall ultimately?
So we can see that the Trump administration has taken aim at legal permanent residents, has taken aim at those with whom it disagrees with their First Amendment, their viewpoint. Those cases look like Rameza Ozturk and Mahmoud Khalil, who the congressional delegation visited with here in Louisiana earlier this month. We see that the Trump administration has even taken aim at federal judges who seek to provide due process to those who the Trump administration seeks to remove. And so we are hopeful that the Supreme Court will weigh in very soon to suggest that due process is and should be available to all those under the Fifth Amendment and through the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Regardless of citizenship, it applies to those persons in the United States and under its jurisdiction. And so we're confident about that. And we believe that this is something, again, completely agree with your guess that we are being tested. And in fact, the United States Supreme Court has issued rulings suggesting that Mr. Abrego Garcia please be returned. And we are hopeful that federal judges in the matter of Family A will also seek to hold the government accountable for disappearing this family and to answer for the fact that this 2-year-old child and also 7-year-old and 4-year-old have also been disappeared. This is incumbent upon us, if we are a constitutional democracy, that our rights are upheld and that we have got to start calling upon of course, I think members of Congress and, of course, our courts to push back against this nonsense.
But Alana, if the Supreme Court goes the other way and they say that these are classes of folks who are not necessarily entitled to the due process protections that American citizens get, does that essentially just open the floodgates for this administration to go even more aggressively on their deportation kick?
It could. Let's just hope that this United States Supreme Court still believes in the fundamental principles of the United States Constitution. It has been clear. I think even the most conservative justices that have served on the court, Justice Scalia, and the most liberal progressive Ruth Bader Ginsburg have had conversations, public conversations, and clear articulations around the fact that due process is something that is granted to all those persons in the United States, regardless of citizenship. And so if we are living in an America that no longer honors the Constitution, we have far more of a crisis on our hands than simply deportation. We can all look to potentially face being captured, being kidnapped, being abducted. This would be a totally different world. And I think many of us realize that Trump's America is not an America that we want to live in.
Ray, when you see White House surrogates and top administration officials like Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem use blanket language to describe immigrants, like calling them terrorists and criminals, what does that do in terms of how we process this conversation regarding their rights being stripped or ignored altogether?
They're trying to create an impression in the public mind that they shouldn't believe their eyes, that busboys and hotel room cleaners and landscapers and people picking cabbages in California are somehow terrorists and criminals. And if you define them as such, you can do almost anything to them and get away with it. Every prosecutor, every investigator in the world will tell you there's a tension in the law between what we can do and what we should do. And right now, that tension is being tested because you're seeing video of a terrified kid having headphones put on his head so he can hear the interpretation of the magistrate's questions. He's representing himself. He's 4 years old. That's legal. That's always been one of the quiet, unspoken parts of the process. But once you see it on TV, when you see plainclothes police hustling somebody into a van, you start to wonder whether Kristi Noem's description, whether Tom Homan's description of terrorists and criminals, trying to equate everybody with those tatted up MS-13 bruisers in CCOT, it's not going to work. And we're already seeing the president's numbers decline on immigration, one of his strongest issues, along with the economy.
Alana Odoms and Ray Suarez, thank you both.